What is going on, everyone? Tim from Tirfon Orbital. This is going to be the first of two videos for a pair of hilts from Kennedy Custom Props. These are both going to be going to the lightsaber or the Saber Museum. They are both custom resin chassis installs, and both chassis have their own little intricacies. So I do want to talk about, we'll go into depth on the chassis a little bit, and then of course we will do a demo, put a blade in it, and we'll be on our way after that, right? So a little bit about Kennedy Custom Props. I actually, one of my very first, I still have it right here, one of my very first custom hilts was from Adam at Kennedy Custom Props. This was one of the very first hilts that I did an install on, a custom install. One of my first chassis that I ever designed, I put in here, and it was a little rough around the edges. I added my own tweaks to it. I put a giant control box up here and some tactile switches and some weird greeblies. Like this was some weird magnetic greeblies. Like this was really early on in my Saber building, my journey into Saber building. So pretty familiar with Kennedy Customs. I've been telling people for a little while now they need to keep an eye out on Kennedy Customs. What I really appreciate are custom one-off hilts. So, you know, Nevin from Space Junk Sabers, Nick over at Starfall, these are like superior craftsmanship lightsabers, in my opinion, right? They're not mass-produced. They are made by hand, and I really love seeing what different sabersmiths, what artistic touch they put on their hilts. So like I can look at a Space Junk Sabers and know that it's a Space Junk Sabers. I can point out a Starfall hilt when I see a Starfall hilt. I can point out a Kennedy Custom hilt when I see it, because you know the artists are putting their touches on those hilts. So keep an eye out. I feel, in my opinion, Adam's just getting better and better with his hilts. They look really, really rad. He's doing some really unique stuff like twist and lock grips. So yeah, we'll talk about both of those things. We'll talk about both hilts, and we'll do a demo. But first, let's come into Fusion and go over the chassis, right? So here is the chassis that I did for this build. So this, it's not named. The hilt is not named yet. I believe the Saber Museum is going to come up with a name for it when he gets it in hand. However, this is the chassis. So it is a static chassis. I kicked back the Proffie on this one. Now, I've done this before. I did this on a build a couple of weeks back. And I just wanted to try it again. It's not that I didn't have a lot of room. I just wanted to do something different again, right? So we've got plenty of room for a 28mm speaker down here. Battery tray is here, okay? Embossed positive and negative, just in case. We've got my logo up top that's on this ledge above the Proffie. Proffie does slide in at an angle. Let me see if I have the Proffie in here, actually. Nope. So the Proffie does slide into those two channels and secures that way. Around back, we have greeblies everywhere. I mean, it's just, I went a little overboard with the greeblies on this chassis. I also added two channels for 2020 NeoPixel strips on each side. So I feed my NeoPixel strips down the bottom here, and my leads came out the top, and that's where I made my connection to the Proffie board wherever I needed to. But that's what those two channels are on each side of the chassis, right? And I think I put Kennedy Custom Props on one side, embossed it in there, and this is where the kill switch is. And that's it. Super greebly heavy. I actually did some tube work on this one too. I haven't been doing a lot of this like custom tubular stuff, but yeah, this was one of those cases where I just kind of sat down, got into my little zen moment, and did a chassis, right? 2 hours later, here's a chassis. So let's come up top. Here it is. So immediately when I took this out of the box, I knew it was steel. This thing is hefty. It feels really, really premium. It feels like you are holding a weapon, right? So it is really, really rad. All custom machined by Kennedy Customs. It's beautiful. Really, really beautiful. We've got a single button setup on this guy. This was also provided by Adam over at Kennedy Customs. I really appreciate it when sabersmiths include their switches with the builds, right? So let's talk about how to use this guy. So there is a thumb screw here that secures the grip in place. Now this is a twist lock grip. So you want to, I already had it untwisted. Once it's untwisted, you pull it out. You pull off the grip, and there's the chassis, okay? So I did my typical rub and buff pass on this chassis. I did do some gold accents on the back greeblies here with rub and buff gold. Those channels that I mentioned where the neopixels are, I did make a really, really small resin lens to put in front of those neopixels just to help with some light dissipation, right? Here's that Proffie board, sits there, kind of kicked at an angle, and that's it, right? Really, really, really unique chassis for a unique hilt. So let's talk about how to use this guy. This is a removable battery setup. Take the negative side of your battery. It goes spring side negative. So obviously that was already on. If you don't hear anything, you want to hit that kill switch. It is embossed on and off in Arabesh on here as well, so you know which side to turn it on. So there's those onboard neopixels along each side. They are different with each font. Show one more, because you're not going to see it with a grip on, obviously. So each font's got a different animation on those side neopixels, and these are set up as their own blade in the config, right? So once you get your battery in, the grip has a notch in it. So what I've been doing is you want to line up that notch with this pan head screw here. That's kind of the guide where that twist lock starts. So you push it all the way in and twist to lock it in place. And then you've got your thumb screw here just to secure everything. Come on, Tim. Oh my God. What are you doing, dude? There we go. All right, so let's come down to the bottom. So twist to activate, twist to deactivate are enabled. Adam also from Kennedy Customs also included a custom blade plug on this guy. So there is a knurled red thumb screw here. I really, really love this thumb screw too. This is, I mean, I just love seeing parts that we're not accustomed to seeing. I mean, everybody's seen your generic, what is it, 12 or 18 millimeter thumb screw. I've never seen one of these like this before. This is really, really cool. So take your blade plug out. Let's get a blade. You want to rest that blade. This is a 1-inch blade holder, by the way. Rest the blade on those PCB pins and tighten that thumb screw. I've been tightening this down as hard as I can just to make sure the blade is nice and secure, right? And then you're ready to go. So really, really cool shine through up in the emitter here too. I really like that. This is a single button setup. So to scroll through fonts, you want to long press and release.
Kylo Ren.
While it's pointing up, you will move forward in your font configs. If you point it down, you will go backwards. Sounds really great. It's hefty. Hefty hilt. Hefty hilt. Let's see what else we got.
You can't run.
Fantastic.
Obi-Wan.
This is that chunky Obi-Wan Camino. Really great. Really nice feeling hilt. Like I said, it's got a lot of heft to it. So yeah, big fan of this hilt. And I mean, this is another thing, right? So this brass blade plug, this is a custom machined blade plug. Beautiful, beautiful. Really, really nice and detailed and intricate. Love seeing that. So that's it. Thank you everyone for watching. If anyone has any questions about this particular chassis or the hilt itself, or anything really, like I always say, please don't be a stranger. To the client, Saber Museum, thank you very much for your business. And to the viewers, thank you for watching. And with that being said, may the force be with you always. Later, everybody.